Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another wonderful video from Eating Crow Comics. Yay! Today I'm going to do a little bit of reading from my book, Eating Crow, 5 Years of Comics, the complete compilation book from the very first cartoon to mid-August-ish or so. Okay, so there's not really a whole lot to read in here for normal words, because 90% of it is just, the comic strip itself. But there is a little bit of an introduction and the back blurbs. The blurbs, the great and powerful. So I'm going to start off with the blurbs and then read a little bit from the inside so you can maybe kind of get an idea of where I'm coming from. Enter Eating Crow, a strange, silly, and pun-filled comic strip universe where goofy blobs, belugas, birds, a friendly mud monster, a mole with a hammer, and the Imperial Glort will make you laugh your socks off. Be sure to pick them back up so you don't lose them. Join Christian C. Clover, that's me, as he celebrates his 5th year as a published cartoonist, despite the fact that he suffers from often debilitating chronic 24/7, 365 with one of their troubles. Okay, now, we're going to start off in the inside of the book and read the introductions and the copyright notice. All rights reserved. This book may not be produced, distributed, transmitted, or stored in whole or any part in any means, including graphics and illustrations, without the express permission of the publisher or the author. You may use short citations for reviews. This is a work of fiction. Any resemblance or reference to actual events, persons, thingies, places, planets, intergalactic empires is purely coincidental or used solely for silly parody and comedic purposes. It is, after all, a comic strip. Try not to take it seriously, folks. Alright. First, I would like to thank God for giving me my sense of humor. Second, my mom, and all those who believed in me for giving me courage and inspiration. Third, to all those who doubted and belittled me for giving me material. A great big thanks to the Harvey County Independent for publishing me. Also, I would like to thank Kat, who did the formatting for this book, wonderful job, and answered all my silly questions. Thanks to Bill Bush and Snyder Publishing, without them this book would not be here. Super big thanks to the fans of my humor. You guys keep me going. Oh, and I almost forgot. Thanks to all you coffee growers out there. Keep it coming. I never really do see the reason for decaf. I must have caffeine. Okay. Introduction of comics and migraines. From an early age, I've always liked to create characters and think up stories about them. That, of course, included drawing comic strips. Even back then, I had a very eclectic sense of humor that was filled with irony and bad puns. As for actual comic strips, I got pretty serious about doing them in my mid-teens. I had lots of characters zipping around on my head, zippy, zippy, zippity-doo. Oh, I must lost my place. Zipping around my head, and often came up with funny jokes that were not related to any of my other ideas. My imagination seemed too infinite to let itself be limited to just 1 or 2 themes. My comic strip humor was more like The Far Side, which had many themes, rather than, say, Garfield, which only has a few characters. Although figuring out a name that would fit my comic strip was hard, I was probably getting close to submitting my artwork to newspapers. Then, one day, when I was 16, I woke up to a different world. The head, the kaboom, you know. On October 31st of 1998, I woke up with a migraine that has literally never gone away. The pain goes from manageable, I might look like a normal person. Whatever that means exactly, I don't know anymore. To look like a normal person, to excruciating. It causes me to lose my balance, my lunch, my vision, or even black out. Oh look! A zombie! One of the side effects are essential tremors, which is fancy doctor speak for, oh look, your hands shake. You could probably imagine that I had a bit of a tough time at drawing the comics, yeah. Although I could still draw the characters in action words like piff just fine, making the speechy bubbles. You know the words about their head in the little round circles with the arrow going towards their mouth, you know, those things. Making them look nice became nearly impossible. Not to mention the adventure of eating the bowl of cereal. Oh, look at this! Rice Krispies everywhere! Some of this you realize is not actually in the book. I need more caffeine. Yeah. Even though the neurologist, the brain doctors, for those of you who do not know, even though the neurologist gave me every blood test imaginable and enough MRI scans, magnetic resonance imaging, to always know which way north was, they sadly could not find a direct cause or a viable treatment. Through the migraines, I discovered a level of pain which, yes, a person can become too tired to be grumpy. Early on, I adopted an attitude of to stop and smell the roses. And I made the decision to stay positive and to always look on the bright side of life. You know, Monty Python style. My faith in Jesus has strengthened and fortified me through this time. Biofeedback training also helps, yeah. If anything, the migraines increased my odd, ironic, bad pun, eclectic sense of humor. I guess adversity will do that to you. So basically, I never stopped writing and drawing my comics. It was also a form of therapy for myself to use humor to brighten my day. Then, in August of 2013, a nearby river was flooding, right before Old Settlers, which is an annual carnival where you need a button to do stuff thingy in Halstead, Kansas. Part of it, like musical acts and the very important grand prize drawing, happens on a stage not far from the river. The flooding that year made them change locations and gave me a joke. Gave me a joke. So I told my coworkers, do you think that the fish need to have a button too? They laughed. The next thing I did was make a comic with two fish, one asking the question, do you think we need to have a button too? Suddenly I realized it was as if God was poking me on the shoulder, pokey. But this joke may never work again. And I'd have one chance to submit it to the local paper. So I took that chance, made a final draft as best as I could, and submitted it to the Harvey County Independent, the local newspaper in Halstead, Kansas. They submitted it the very next week. I became ecstatic and emboldened and began to try to make some more comics to submit. Sadly, I still had the tremors. I always have the tremors. The tremors, they never go away. That's not in the book, I'm telling you. Blah, 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 blah. Oh. And the next cartoon had a much larger sentence, which proved too difficult to write neatly with the tremors. So I tried using the computer at the public library to enter the text into the speech bubbles. It worked and opened an incredible door that I haven't thought of before. No, I did not have a computer at the time. So now, armed with the computer, pardon me, I must have more caffeine. Armed with the computer. To edit the art and enter text for the speech bubbles, my imagination soared to infinite heights. I made more and more comics and submitted a bunch to the Independent. The publisher liked them and wanted them as a continuous addition to his newspaper. Crows from the second cartoon I submitted had been flying around my brain, making more stories and jokes, coupled with how certain people in my life had said I would never get published, amount to anything, inspired me to name my comic strip Eating Crow. Those naysayers are eating crow, so to speak. Tee. And the term eating crow was actually ambiguous enough to contain any other comedic ideas my brain could think of. Freeing my infinite imagination! It has been 5 years and over 200 comics later now. No, I said that wrong. It's been 5 years and over 200 comics later now. My, how time flies. There is no end in sight to my stories. Oop, I forgot a comma there. And I've got tons of material still to do. I also think up more comics nearly every day. And yes, the migraine is still perpetual. I lost the accent. Dang, need more coffee. So I hope you will enjoy my silliness, my puns, my irony, and mostly lack of current events, or even Earth politics. I prefer to just be silly and not get overly political. I would much rather use my humor to make everybody laugh, put a smile on their faces, and for a moment at least, forget their troubles. I hope to inspire people and use my humor to brighten everyone's day, including my own. Thank you, and God bless you. Sincerely, Christian Ziklofer. And I have no idea where the accent came from. Anyway, that was the first introduction of my book. The rest is basically comic strips and a little note here and there about how I did stuff, and this got published here, etc., etc., etc. Anyway, I believe I will try to put a link to my Amazon author page below in the description. If anybody's interested, they can go check it out. It's on paperback, hardcover, and ebook. Okay, so that was a little reading from my comic strip compilation. That is the largest amount of words in the book, non-comic-y striply. See, the rest of it is literally 99.99% comic strips. Over 200. So, anyway, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good day, and see you later. I think this actually might be one of my longest videos, too. Hopefully it does not take a century to upload it onto YouTube.